Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Danny Soar here for another cast. Today we will be watching Halcyon. He is from Clan OG, and he sent this in, so we will have to see what he has in store for us. This will be a Zerg versus Terran here on Derelict Watcher. We're going to speed up the beginning just a little bit, as ZVT, typically you don't see a whole lot of aggression right away. I will slow it down just in case anything crazy happens, but for now, let's kind of keep an eye on things. I just got done watching the WCS Championship. I won't spoil anything, but there was some really cool builds there today. Some absolutely fantastic things. I saw a Terran Widowmine be used to take out his own 11 SCVs, I believe it was, in one shot. One of the cooler things that I've seen. So as we get this game underway, there's not going to be anything real interesting taking place early on. Just a very basic barracks with a gas. Now, Halcyon, I have not casted any of his games, so I do not know what kind of player he is. This Terran player, after looking at this for a little bit, I think it's supposed to be ADRNLNNJECTD, as in adrenaline injected and kind of squished together, but that's going to be a mouthful and just a nightmare. So we're just going to go with Jected, because that's much easier for me to say, and I'll probably just call him the Terran player for most of it anyway. So I'll slow it down as he is getting a Reaper, see what he can get done there. Two Overlords spreading out. Halcyon should be able to get some good vision around the map. It kind of depends with Terran a lot of times. With Marines and things like that, you can't leave him out on the map for too long, but we'll see if he can scout anything special. Now, he is mining gas, so we'll have to see if he wants to do 100 for speedlings, or if he has something else in mind, whether or not he's going to pull off those 3 drones. And this Reaper will be coming across here. We'll have to see what exactly Jected can find of Halcyons. He's not really not much to see here, as back home he is making an expansion on the low ground. No lings are on the way by any means from Halcyon, so he will be able to put that up no problem. And a little bit of drone harassment here, and that drone certainly will go down as Halcyon pulled that to the wrong spot. A little painful, but one drone, no big deal, making the other into an extractor. And it looks like he will keep that, so that was kind of planned anyway. A few free shots happening. Oh, and if he's not careful, I feel like if he could have microed that queen just a little bit. And we have another Reaper here. These 2 Reapers, I don't think they'll be able to get a whole lot done at this base. Maybe pick off a ling, but no more drone kills should come along. And we do have that metabolic boost going down as well. And he is continuing to mine gas, throw up this extractor, but didn't put any drones in it. So we will have to see what exactly is going to go down here. As Jected is just kind of working his way up, adding on a tech lab as well, and adding a factory. We'll have to see if he's going to swap any of these around, what he wants to do, see if he goes into the kind of typical Widowmine play, and where he's going to place those down. And now we see a Baneling nest going down a little early for Halcyon. We'll have to see if he wants to use those. I did see some great burrowed Baneling usage today. One of my favorite things to see, but also very difficult when you are in the middle of a match. So we will have to see if anything like that is going to take place and how effective it'll be. And again, very standard, just stim going down, getting that planetary up, and barracks and factory going down as well. So we have a small group of speedlings streaming across here. He might be able to get a little something done. These Marines a little bit out of position with no wall up. If he can surround them, might be able to pick off a few. And gets that good surround. So yes, these Marines will go down. And these Speedlings may be able to just get... Oh, when he decides to pull back, I feel like he could have at least gotten that one. And there we go. And maybe he can get an SCV, not targeting the SCV down, simply targeting down that depot. Not the best idea. I'd like to see him maybe try to take down this mule. But this Reaper will come in and clean up everything else. In situations like that, I like seeing people go after mules. That's 50 energy completely lost. A good amount of minerals as well. And he is adding on a reactor, so we should see some Widow Mines popping out very quickly. And there are 2 right on cue. Now to see Derelict Watcher is a little bit interesting because this 3rd base opens up over here. And with Zerg, with this creep spread that Halcyon's starting off, the creep spread, once you get over here, it's very easy to defend both locations while keeping your units kind of back, parked up on the high ground, so you can use that high ground advantage. Nice wall up here for Ejected, but he has yet to throw down a 3rd command center, throwing down that starport. Certainly, I'm wondering if we're going to see any Widowmine drops going down. these two Overlords are in pretty good position. These are very typical flight paths for Terran, come down around the edges. Would like to see maybe an Overlord or something up here in this gap. That way anything coming into this area could be spotted, but he's got plenty of time for that, so no immediate worries. We do see 2 engineering bays going down, so Jected is looking that this might be a little bit longer game for him, assuming he's going to get 1-1 pretty quickly. Halcyon, no other real upgrades on the way for him. He's going heavily into roaches, getting that upgraded roach speed, and this macro hatch. Typically, we see that right up against here. Not sure why he has it here, if that's on purpose or just kind of because he was feeling a little saucy today. We'll have to see. No real hidden tech, and these players are not interested in aggression, simply getting all of the upgrades that they're going to need, so I would expect this game to go a little bit longer. Trying to see if any of these players have any distinct advantage. It's tough to give any advantage when nothing really has happened between the two of them. We'll have to see, and typically I like if you have these Widow Mines to not put them quite so close apart, but if you can spread them out in a little bit more of a checkerboard pattern, typically like seeing that a little more. That way you don't, target 2 lings right next to each other, etc. Try to diversify up and, get some really nice shots off. But he will be easily very well defended, and no third base for him yet, nothing on the way. Infestation Pit going down for Halcyon, trying to get into that higher tech. Baneling speed is already on the way, and does have 16 lings. A decent amount of lings out on the map right now. 30 lings, 9 roaches. Let's see if he wants to move across the map. The creep spread is looking pretty good early on, but typically we see this fall off as players get more busy with 2 or 3 bases. No upgrades on the way, and actually nothing in the production tab. And it looks like he wants to make this hatch, and there is 1-1. But ADRNLN actually has a pretty good timing here. And you can see right there 2 lings, and he used 2 Widow Mines for that. That's why you like to see them spread out a little bit more. We'll have to see if he can get anything done here. Oh, and some good shots could go down. Oh, he's within range. Oh, and a good chunk of lings goes down. It's a pretty good shot, and that will turn him around, most likely. Maybe just waiting for the roaches, but these Widow Mines are now going to be back up. There's no way he can get by here without hitting some more. The Overseers are here, which does help. And a lot of Banelings are on the way, 24 of them right outside. Pathogen glands are on the way, so we will be going into Infestors, looking to use that fungal growth. Hellbats are on the way, which will help tremendously with the Zerglings. And I do really like seeing this. A couple Vikings to clear out Overlords. That is great and could really help with drops later on. And he is covering this Xel'Naga Watchtower. He's got both, so he's got really good vision across the map. He's not going to be taken off guard by anything. Zerg is throwing up a third, and the Terran is putting the third base here in the main. I'm guessing he'll float that all the way down. This is just an easily defensible location. And all these units just kind of sitting outside. Here come in some Vikings trying to see if maybe they can pick off any Overlords, see any units. And he will land them, and he's going to do some damage to this hatchery. If nothing comes over, they may be able to get something done. Oh no, and these Widow Mines... We did just miss there. 4 kills and 0 kills, so no major hits there. But those 2 did go off, so he knows he will approach rather cautiously. And if those 2 go off, could get a little bit of damage done. But again, they both kind of tend to hit the same roach or the same 2. There are 2 different shots. It does bruise those up pretty well, so those Banelings are certainly worth it. And we do have the Zerg heavily supply capped as these Vikings are going to town. Fantastic move from ADRNLN as he does bust down. Zerg streaming in here. Looks like he should be moderately successful. No, he will be pushed back eventually with all of these more reinforcements coming down, and he's heavily supply blocked, so that really sucks for him. He now has 21 roaches on the way. Looks like Terran will move out for a counterattack. 21 roaches on the way, however. I don't think he'll be able to get a whole lot done. Great creep spread here from Halcyon, as we mentioned earlier. Little things like these Reapers can be really annoying. Oh, and picking up a creep tumor like that is so annoying for the Zerg player. Those 2 will very easily go down. These medevacs a little bit overextended, but no big deal since he does not have any real anti-air. Another Overlord going down. And here these roaches, on creep, will move in and be able to do some great damage here. This is not a good trade for ADRNLN by any means. Certainly not getting much done here and losing a good chunk of army. Halcyon lucked up there, took the supply lead back. Not quite sure why he took that fight. It on creep away from his base with speed roaches. That's not going to be something that you're going to be particularly happy with. And he should see this third base land as soon as it does over here. So he will know. And there it is. So it will show up on his mini-map for the remainder. Zerg, not sure whether he's going to go into a fourth base. He is droning up. The drone count here, 65 SCVs to 52 drones. So Adrenaline actually has a pretty good advantage. If he spreads out all of his SCVs to this third base, he will be ahead in this counter by a decent amount. Not anything too devastating, but the Zerg player certainly wants to get a little bit more damage done, it appears. And now Infestors in the mix. That's going to be a little interesting for him. A lot of people have started to try to use Infestors against Widow Mines. Not my favorite thing, but perhaps maybe I just haven't seen it done well. And sucks up those two Hellbats into the medevacs, but those are getting fungled. And it doesn't look like they'll continue to be fungled, so those are just going to be basically dead weight units. And a planetary here. Oh, and going down on the Infestors. He's got to get those out. You don't want to lose Infestors, certainly to a planetary. No reason for that. And he should push in here and get a lot done. Certainly. And these Infestors, oh, with a great fungal there, pushing everything down. And he should be able to take this fight with the roaches in the front. These Lings need to come over and help, however. He's losing a lot of roaches. Widow Mines here in front, attempting to burrow, but they are just moving through. And now finally get burrowed. Can they go off on these Infestors? One goes down, which does help, but he is not out of the woods by any means. Again, these two Hellbats still stuck up in this medevac. Now these infested Terrans will do plenty of work to all these units coming down. And again, these Widow Mines a little bit misrallied, so a little bit of sloppy play here. But the Terran is just kind of out of options right now, as his income is super low after taking such a devastating hit. And right now, 41 workers on one mineral patch. That's not going to net you a whole lot of minerals. So really all he has to do is deny this. And here there's a big transfer coming across. There it is. If his Infestors happen to find this, that's going to be absolutely devastating. Oh, and the Infestors are moving over. Can he get there? Oh, he sees them all coming in. Can he get a fungal off? It doesn't look like he has the energy. And no, he cannot. Boy, that would have been something. Fungling 40 plus workers. And Halcyon decides to just kind of get out of here, but now he knows this is so oversaturated. There's no reason to have this number of SCVs over here and just 4 over here. So real kind of basic mistakes here, and you can see his income is suffering for it. Has not reset workers into this gas either, so he's down as that as well. Halcyon now getting a 4th base, going up to 2-2. And Adrenaline is going to try to make the switch into tanks. He is also on 2-2, so that will kind of equal out for both sides here. And now finally evening out these workers a little bit, but he really needs this 4th base. See our Zerg player here, pretty bold just out on the map. His creep spread has slowed quite a little bit, but he is working it over. Does not have these bases connected yet. That will certainly help him. I would like to see him park an Overlord up here to see any incoming attacks. That would most certainly help him, and he's adding in tanks to the mix, the drilling claws upgrade, so he can get those Widow Mines burrowed very quickly. And finally, our Zerg player will be working on missile attack for all of these roaches that he's got in this composition. Those will also help the infested Terrans that he seems to be a little dedicated to, but no other real tech structure is going down for him. So I'm wondering if he's just content sticking on kind of this Ling Roach with Infestor build. Once these tanks get in here, however, that could get a little scary for him. So you have a good drop coming in here. We'll follow this across for Adrenaline. He's going to boost this in. Drop right on this base. And we'll have to see what he gets done. He gets to the Queen at least, but I don't think he'll be able to get too much more. He should lift off. And he's losing a fair number, but just 2 Marines is all. Not a big deal, but he could transfer over here. And good split here by Halcyon, making sure he doesn't redrop here. And he's following this drop ship. That's a great move. Meanwhile, all of these others are streaming up here. Oh, if he could get an Infestor by chance, that would totally be worth the drop. But alas, he does not. This medevac hanging out here pretty low. And Adrenaline just doesn't have a whole lot of options. He has to really hope that he can take some miraculous engagements here with these tanks. He is up to 4. Whoops, we'll throw up the units tab here. The drone count and work count has really evened out pretty well, but with these 7 Infestors, 51 roaches, It really depends on how this attack goes down. Either player technically could take it. More banelings on the way, but with so many roaches, they will kind of melt to these tanks, but there's only 4 tanks, and it's rare that you say only 4, but against so many roaches, it'll be very difficult to do a large amount of damage before he really pushes in. Oh, and these Widow Mines worth their weight now. Oh, taking out so much. These tanks are good. Great fungal growth on everything, doing so much damage. He just got this in a giant clump, and I believe the Zerg player will push through here. Absolutely, and I don't expect this to last too much longer. 30 more roaches on the way. These 2 tanks on the high ground are may be able to fend off these roaches, not so much. If not, there's 30 more on the way, so I believe this should be GG here very soon for Adrenaline. Halcyon just kind of tearing him apart with these roaches and this infestor. He wasn't really tempted to go into any higher level tech. And yes, with all of these SCVs going down as he rallies them across, all pointing him to the same specific spot on a move command there. And they can't quite get there, but that is okay. Again, Adrenaline down to just 90 supply. His worker count is just plummeting. And if you look, he has lost 39, 40 SCVs. He just simply cannot come back from that. The units lost tab is actually pretty even, but Halcyon is just way, way up at this point and had so much more money to throw away with those 4 bases. So I expect as soon as he comes over here and cleans out this base that the game will end. With these Banelings, which already have speed from earlier, which he hasn't really utilized. Again, with these SCVs, if only he could get a good fungal or something of the sort, but I do not expect this to go on very long. Adrenaline, yeah, Halcyon's getting a hive, getting +2, getting the spire, rounding out the tech tree. He will not lose this game, and we'll see these Banelings going in. He's got, oh, so many, and those Banelings, oh, are just going to massacre the SCVs, and a little bit of miscontrol there. Maybe could have gotten a little bit better hits, but no such luck, and I think that's going to be all she wrote. As long as Halcyon marches all the units down, that should be all. Not quite sure why there hasn't been a GG. A giant bank for him as well. He should know that he has this by now. And there is the GG. And that is pretty much it. And I think for Adrenaline, he could have done a lot better with those Widow Mines, not bunching him up so much. But Halcyon just kind of kept him at bay. His creep spread was pretty good. Could be a little bit better, but nothing too bad to complain about. Got this 3rd base up. Kind of a real basic game, and just kind of picked Adrenaline apart. He never recovered, having so many SCVs and the wrong places, mining out in the main, and just not having this 3rd base saturated. So that will wrap up another cast from the Dinosaur. I think that's pretty much speaks for itself. So you guys have a great night.